Welcome to another one of my video blogs. I'm author and ghostorian Mike Ricksecker. I finally made it out to the cemeteries. It's finally not raining, but as luck would have it, one of my co-workers also showed up in the cemetery. His name is also Mike, and you might see him, walking amongst the, the grave markers in the background. In any case, this is the Greenbelt Cemetery. It's a very small cemetery. There's just really grave markers here and the remnants of one headstone on the billboard in the back, but I've got that back behind me. Back behind you in the camera is just woods. Like I said, it's very small. What I wanted to do with this is basically recount some of my experiences at cemeteries. So I'm going to make basically a series of cemetery videos along the way. Not the next one won't be a cemetery one, but this one will be another one along the way. Probably a couple down the road, because I've been to a number. Probably want to highlight some specific ones, but I thought with this one I could just do an in general. Hey, here are some of my experiences with cemeteries and some of the stranger experiences that I've had. I'll get into some more detail with specific historic ones, like Arapaho, for instance, or Dick Duck, or things like that. Ones that are in my books that I've highlighted. And this will also be a nice test run to see if this is a good location to do some of these video blogs, because there's actually a lot of noise pollution around. There's a lot of traffic out from the highways over there, but there's a main strip over here, and then there's some construction in the background. So there's a lot of noise. Hopefully my mic is not picking all that up and it's just mostly picking up me, but we'll see. So experiences that I've had, because I get a lot of questions like, do you really get a lot of paranormal activity out in cemeteries? Because, the people that inhabited those bodies, the spirits that inhabited those bodies, wouldn't they be more attached to, say, their house or a favorite object, or family members, or things like that? But you actually do get people that are spirits that will inhabit the cemeteries that, I don't know if maybe they're hanging out near their bodies, or they didn't know they could branch away from their bodies, or things like that. Some different mediums and sensitives that I've talked to, that I've been with, have witnessed conversations between different spirits that are there, and a lot of times they don't like to actually make themselves known that that they're around at the cemeteries, make themselves known to the people that are coming to visit. One conversation that somebody told me about was like, shh, stop talking. There, people are coming, things like that. My own personal experiences. I've gotten some interesting mists at cemeteries as far as like photography. One of the things that I see a lot. And I've talked about shadow people before, and in my shadow people video I talked about like the black cat along the ground. I do see those quite a bit, the low lurking, very short statured shadow creatures, for lack of a better term, kind of crawling around the ground at cemeteries. To me it kind of resembles a black cat, and I've seen quite a few of those. I like the cemeteries for the history, the people that were there, they were real people that had lives, and this is their final resting place. Yeah, some of the crazier things that have happened have been like with animals. Like at Black Bear, and that's the one where there's the church, and across the dirt road there's the cemetery, and that's the one that was on my ghost story. But out there, because it's really out in the middle of nowhere, there's coyotes. And so the one night that we were out there, we were actually in the church, and we drove across the little dirt road, no more than about 8 feet across, maybe 6 feet at it's really small, but there you could hear the coyotes howling and coming closer, and all of that. And so it's kind of funny, we actually found safety in the cemetery because we could close the gate, where in the church it was wide open. They could just walk in the front door. So we actually found refuge in the cemetery and start our investigation there. The second time that we were here, Dustin and I were checking out the headstones in this area. Notice this one, last name Allen, from the map that we have dating back to 1906. And notice the dates on here, John L. 1928-2005 was exactly the same as the one behind it. John Langdon Allen, 1920-2005, exact same dates. So he and I are taking a look at this and make the comment that, this one apparently was put in here by the Navy, exactly the same for the same person. Got an EVP confirming that said correct. It's really kind of interesting to have that sort of intelligent response to something that we were talking about with the headstones. There's a second marker for John right here from the Navy. So he's got two markers. First time I was here, got this fantastic EVP. Logan was headed that way toward the car because we were leaving. Kathy was over by him. I was kind of wandering through the headstones here and picked up an EVP that said, "My teeth are warm." Probably one of the crazier EVPs we've ever gotten. It was a Class A, very, very clear, and here it is.
Teeth are warm. Teeth are warm. Teeth are warm.
Another interesting aspect about cemeteries is the family plot. And when I was doing research for Ghosts of Maryland, most of the stories I've already talked about were for Ghosts and Legends of Oklahoma, but when I was doing the research for Ghosts of Maryland and I was researching the Snowden homes, there's a missing family cemetery somewhere. And this was specifically for the mansion known as Oaklands. And most of that land has been, bought from the family, developed, although the mansion's still sitting there and currently being remodeled and all that and restored. Well, before they did that development, there was on record a small family cemetery somewhere out there in the land, but nobody knew where it was. So they brought out a team of archaeologists to survey the land and try to find this cemetery and these graves, and they found remnants of an old burned down barn and things like that, but no family cemetery. So somewhere out there in the land, because there's record of these people having died, been buried at the cemetery that's on the land, and they just can't find the graves. So somewhere out there amongst the homes is the family cemetery. So things like that kind of fascinate me because it's a mystery. The mystery of where's the cemetery, where are these bodies? Is there going to be a moment like the movie Poltergeist where I'm surely now where the bodies come up out of the ground, but that could certainly create for a haunting of whatever home the graves may be on, or if the home is near land, or what have you. Certainly those graves being out there, being disturbed like that, could create some paranormal activity. Personally, I like the older headstones that are more decorative and have a lot more of the sculptures and artwork on them. I have found the Woodsmen of America headstones to be quite fascinating, where they're all different logs with different types of carvings engraved on them and things like that. I love like the old like some of the old angels and things like that on the headstones that are now kind of weathered and deteriorated and things like that. Some of the modern ones are very pretty and elegant, and those are good. The regular flat markers, like mostly of what's here, no offense to anybody, I find kind of boring, but I also understand that it's a lot of money to to produce a headstone, to buy a headstone and all that. So you get what you can get. It's just I love those old big giant headstones and the artwork that you find on them. I always thought it would be cool to have a mausoleum for me and my family. Maybe that's my ego talking, I don't know. I think those are cool because they're like a big giant tomb, and they're, I don't know, cool and creepy looking to me. It's not that I find all things creepy to be cool. That's not necessarily who I am. I do find that there are a lot of cool, creepy things. But I find, beauty in nature and all of that as well. It's just, when it comes to, a cemetery, a graveyard, I find, to me, it to be more fascinating where it's, more of those, type of, get the mausoleum structures, the old big headstones with the sculptures, and it's more, vintage and antique looking. To me, that it creates an ambiance that I really like. I'm gonna wrap it up with that for the cemeteries in this segment of, like I said, I'm gonna do a few more and get into more specifics of different cemeteries, but that's kind of just a brief overview of some of my experiences, things I like about cemeteries and headstones and things like that. So we'll get into more another time. As always, check out my website, MikeRicksecker.com. All the books are out there. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like on the video. Drop in a comment or two. Tell me what you'd like to see more of. I did get some comments before, about from some of the other videos about doing some cemetery videos. People are looking forward to that, so I want to make sure I got the cemetery video done this time. So here's my first cemetery video. We're going to do more down the road, and hit me up on Facebook and on Twitter as well. And until next time, we're going to switch to the Friends of the Fedora segment. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, watch the last video blog. That's the introduction to Friends of the Fedora. And this is the new, big giant Chase Michael DeBarlo mystery. Here you go. Welcome, Friends of the Fedora. This is the way this segment was originally supposed to air in the last video blog, but again, because it was raining that day, I was only able to do that basically from my car. And actually, it's raining outside right now, so go figure that. But it was supposed to be at the end of the blog, and that's the way the setup's going to be. So this is the way it's supposed to go. Now, this, well, a real mystery, this is not my fedora. This one is actually Heather's. My fedora is missing. It's pretty close to mine. Hers a little darker because mine was sitting in the car forever, so the color kind of wore out, but it's missing. So if you want a real Chase Michael DeBarlo mystery, like real life, there you go. Where's my missing fedora? So I'm wearing Heather's for right now. So for those of you that did miss the original Friends of the Fedora episode, for lack of a better term, feel free to watch it. That'll give you a little bit of background about what this segment is and what we're doing here. Basically, it is a great case by Chase Michael DeBarlo that I'm going to be doing through these video blogs, through the website, a lot of different media that I'm going to try to incorporate into this, lots of clues and things like that. So where we are right now is basically just the first page, the secret page, which is actually clickable from my website. I don't know if anybody's ever found the secret link to get to there, but it's been up there for years, actually. Just not the text that's in there. So go to that. That's the first page of it all. And then, of course, with this episode, now we have a second page, and I'll flash that up on the screen. And go there, check out the new material from Chase Michael DeBarlo, in this case, and his little messages there from his new friend, for lack of a better term. What do you call himself? The Unforgiven One, that's right. So, I hope it's something that you're all going to enjoy. Like I said, you don't have to wear your fedora. You don't have to be drinking a coffee. But I will be, because it's my segment, and that's what I'm going to do with it. So until next time.